Good evening, everyone. System Chalk here with the 119th episode of Book of Hours, playing as the artist, recovering from my afflictions, but certainly much better than I was on Monday. Thank you for all of your well-wishing and whatever nice things you might have said on on Wednesday's episode, which clearly I have not seen yet. So we were about to wrap up the day, which means that Mr. Kill is going to unlock another part of the house. But we have some tasks ahead of us before we finish. So I think this is just a matter of letting the clock run down. We are at a point where it would be nice if we could get something for the Violet Chamber. So that's Grail, Knock, Moth, or Heart. None of what we currently have will help us, but we are still talking with Mr. Kill until sundown, at which point we'll try to... try to take stock. I mean, gossip works. Doesn't mean that I sacrifice... Well, no, I guess I didn't sacrifice the Newman in vain because the gossip would have been overwritten. Mr. Kill, Ryan Spry, doesn't mind stopping for a gossip. And the skill is now level 6. Its power aspects have also increased. So 9 modes, 9 horizons. 9 horizons, the subtle rhythms of words which open ways. Alright, we will level up glass blowing and vessel crafting right away. Now again, I said this a couple of times, but it does, I think it's worth saying, the reason why I matched the lessons learned to the skill is not because I think that's the best way to do it in the game. It is the easiest way for me to keep things in mind. So if you... Oh, hang on. I'm going to wait. Oh, darn it. How much time do I have on the... Yeah, no, we'll have enough. So I'm not going to commit that quite yet for the simple reason that I can use the confounding parable and then I can keep the gossip for the next day. But yeah, this is just an easy way for me to keep the lessons learned just straight in my mind. Generally, if you have an idea about what particular outcomes you're looking for instance, you can focus on leveling that. So not a bad example of this would be what we did during Numa, which was to try and level up Edict's Marshal, and that's specifically because I wanted the advantage of an easier access to a Wormwood Dream. So that's an example of one way that I would maybe make an exception. But for now, again, I'm happy to just match them up and then I can adjust accordingly. The 5 letters on memory, Julian Cosley's epistolatory treatise on matters memorial and mnemonic, addressed to his then friend Claude Hersault, the mystic and antiquarian. So glass blowing and vessel crafting won't just be level 3, it'll actually be level 4 by the time we're done with all of this. I'll see what Mr. Kill gets us before I commit too much. Okay. Fine with leaving the fear aside. Best not to go to bed scared. Okay, so the gossip, dream on a memory. Now that night has fallen, I can rest and perhaps dream on the day's doings. The Locksmith's Dream in Cursus, the 5th and final volume of Teresa Galmier's notorious work, which began as an examination of parallels in the mystic dreams of artisans, but became an account of her own occult journey. This volume was never published, nor apparently even written. The law goes back all the way to stone. The keys cannot be held or owned. This had, I believe, the unexpected consequence that those outside the law may hold and own them, but even they cannot keep them. And of course, a key is no more physical than a spirit, but a spirit may be housed in a body, and I have touched a key with my own hands. So the Legions hold the keys. I had thought the Legions only old and powerful transgressors of the crime of the sky, but I begin to understand that the crime of the sky is more even than it seems, and why a twin, who unite that what is not to be divided, might accept Elysian as her name. There's the confounding parable. We will quickly turn that into a higher level of glass blowing and vessel crafting. I am going to need to put some thought into how I'm going to handle leveling up resurgences and emergences, but we'll deal with that the following day. And finally, we get to see a little bit more of what's been going on here. An incandescent hollow, sullen heat still roils below. Its originator must be long gone, but it must be quelled before I can descend safely. Few flowers flourish in the depths of winter, but Blue Crown is one of those few. And with keeper-level winter, Solomon's preparations are a precursor to the great ink Nilicant. So we'll have at least one more use for the winter for Mr. Kill. We've got the moon and the nectar, we've got Grail and Moth, we have got Heart and Moth, we've got Moon and Rose, we have Forge, Knock, and Sky, and then we have Knock, Moth, and Winter. So again, we have options, but I think at this point the Winter is the main one we're looking for. Now, didn't I just get a flower from one? There we go, the Vagabond's room, or Vagabond desk. The room is the map room. Now, I'll confess, I'm a little surprised that I was able to make the kind of progress that I did on the skills that I have. I don't think we're ready to do resurgences and emergences, but I do think we have more than enough to handle glass blowing and vessel crafting. So I'm going to try something a little unconventional here. My feeling on the Wormwood Dream is this. It takes me two memories, and so 2 elements of the soul in order to be able to generate it. And I don't need everything. I don't need to give up everything to. Sorry, what I mean to say is I have other ways of getting Mr. Kill to the level that I need. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to use 1 element of the soul at Ava's desk. What we're going to use here is we're going to use towards a fundamental aesthetic, which doesn't give us as much in terms of winter as the Wormwood Dream, but it gives me enough. So I've already mastered this, but I could reread it and perhaps recall a memory. We will take care of Mr. Kill, and we'll do the same thing. We'll renew the Whist right away. Mr. Kill always enjoys a chance to catch up with me. What was that? Now that leaves me with more for my Tryst and my Fett. I think we'll keep the Shaft aside for the Tryst. Okay, you know what? This isn't the most exciting thing that I can do, but it's good to take my medicine. I'm actually going to take my time to work out resurgences and emergences. And I'm going to do the same thing that I always do. I'm just going to go through the boxes. Okay, so it's Grail and Moth. So Impulse works. Satisfaction works. Revelation will not. Now this one's a hard one, so secret thresholds. I can never remember this one. I would guess probably it is Knock and Rose, if anything. Then Stolen Secrets is Knock and Moon, I think. The really embarrassing thing is that I actually just had that one, so... but I'm feeling reasonably confident on that. Glimmering, Bittersweet Certainty is Lantern and Winter, so I'm not too worried about those. With Foresight, that's Forge and Lantern. Regrets, Winter and Scale, I think. Hindsight, Winter... oh, crap. It's not Moth, I know that. No, hang on. Regret is Winter and Forge, and Hindsight's Winter and Scale. We've got Intuition, which is Moon and Rose. Gossip, well, that gets me Grail. Fear is Edge and Scale. Beguiling Melodies is Grail. Oh, well done. I wrote Grail instead of Gossip. How clever of me. Okay. Contradiction is Moon and Edge. Storm, Heart, and Sky. Salt, Knock, Moon and Winter. Pattern, Knock and Forge. Solace, well, it's Mild Storm, Heart and Sky. Earth Sign, Nectar, and Scale. Savage Hymns, Scale and Sky, I think. Cheerful Ditties, Heart and Sky. Confounding Parables, Sky, Intuition. Intuition doesn't work, so, and... okay. Oh, wow. What? How on earth did I get Resurgences and Emergences up to 7 then? Okay, so if I add to that, we can say Taste is Grail. So that's 5. 6. Named a Riddle. I'm struggling to come up with where 7 and 8 come from, though. Okay, Impulse, Satisfaction, Gossip, Beguiling Melody, Taste, Named a Riddle. Hell. Probably A Curious Hunch. And Weather? Okay, yeah, so I think what we do is we wait for a rainy day, and then we work like hell to get Resurgences and Emergencies. I'm sure I'm forgetting something very obvious, and I'm sure there's some of these higher... oh, well, here we go. Hive's Lament would be a moth that I can work with. I'm sure there are some like low-hanging fruit that I can work with, but honestly, let's just focus on other things that are a bit easier for us to handle right now, especially because I have at least one book that I can read right now without worrying at all about winter. In fact, let's do that now. We should be able to... no, we can't use that desk. Natan's desk doesn't give me something I can use winter with. So it would be Ava's desk that we read that at. That's interesting. I think I can... I mean, we'll be late reading it, but I think I can live with that. Okay. Do I really want to sit on this many elements of the soul, though? especially because I've also got all these phonographs that I can listen to as well. Okay, what's the easiest phonograph for me to listen to? We've got a 12 sky, 6 heart for moon. Let's do an investigation to a foundered country. Ah, yes. So we can't use Trist on this, I believe, but we can use Fet, so... mystery and mastery. Ambrose used to say that music minus time was ink, but Ambrose liked brandy as much as he liked ink. Kitty Mazarine, add aspects to match this record's mystery. You don't always need to fill every slot. Okay, so I'm going to leave Inks of Containment aside. We only need 4 for Moon, so... do I want to play with Fire on Edict's Marshal? I guess I have to if I'm not going to... Well, Pearl and Tide will do the trick. Moon, a culmination. I can master this mystery. Oh, actually, Edict's Marshal wouldn't have worked anyway. I can master this mystery enough Moon to match Mystery Moon. So again, I want to be kind of careful in terms of overdoing it with memories and lessons learned and things like that, but I'm happy enough with the setup that I have. And another gale, so we won't worry about resurgences and emergences today. Mr. Kill can always spare a few hours to help a friend. As some of you have pointed out, helping me is an all-day affair sometimes, but Mr. Kill is a helpful sort. Alright, let's have a chat about Solomon's preparation. A nice drop. I can offer my assistants something to drink. This will increase their aspects. And the moment you've all been waiting for... Oops. Sorry for the unintentional ASMR. Oubliette. Here in a vessel shaped by fire and fate, George Collars can find a flame in human flesh, a blazing shadow of a blazing future, a name of greed and time. Green called it the sun's bastard grandchild. Van Loren warned of the second dawn's first spark. But Collars spoke of it reverently as the leashed flame's true heir. It is worth remembering here, the jail cellar. The entrance to the subcellar was barred, locked, chained, warded, both physically and otherwise. Whatever was kept down there, they took it extremely seriously. It looks very much as if the questing worms broke the seals drawn by the power below. It looks very much as if they regretted it. And we do have the oubliette containment. Fire, iron, dusk, air, all wrenched into a configuration designed to confine something very dangerous. That something is long gone, but the configuration still has its uses. I've carried a memory like a flambeau safe through the mazes of night. This will complete once dawn has come. So I guess this potentially gives me a head start. Now, it would only be a head start on resurgences and emergences, but the gale still helps us with glass blowing and vessel crafting. Down to the Grushians. This has boosted their aspects appropriately. So, we are also going to give up another U on this one. I can offer my assistant any suitable timber I have lying around. So if it does turn out that there's not that much for me to do, there are a lot of books for me to catalog still. And then there are a few other things that I can do with my Elements of the Soul. So I'm not that worried about me sitting back and not doing a whole lot at the start of the day. Towards a Fundamental Aesthetic, or the House of Glass, Julian Cosley's considered this his masterwork. Techniques for perception and analysis which permit invidious and apocalyptic conclusions. Probably the most assiduously suppressed book in history. The entire run was destroyed. Even the presses were melted and dispersed, but the manuscript edition has survived. The perfect hegemony of the hours is perhaps eternal, but Coseley proposes and describes confinement inescapable, aesthetic and optical techniques which might contain even an hour, profoundly disrupting the order of the Mansis. He presents this as his own work, but there are hints here and there that he received inspiration or even assistance from the nowhere hour named Snow. Let it clutter up their shelves. Better now. Alright, so a few things that we can handle. We'll watch for what lies ahead. So we're up to 9. Oh. Oh dear. Oh wait, no, we're fine, we're fine. I was a little worried I bungled it, but... And finally, we will talk about the inescapable confinement. I can discuss a memory with my assistant. This will use up the memory, but boost the assistant's abilities for the rest of the day. Now, I suppose the easy answer for me as far as resurgences and emergences is concerned is, in fact, a Newman. So let's... first of all, I definitely messed something up here. So if I take the Arab, Inks of Containment, and 5 letters on memory... I can master this mystery, enough winter to match mystery winter. I should have done that earlier. The other thing I want to do is read the read another text just so that I can get some Grail in reserve. So this one we will be reading The Sun Disfigured. We need Crack Track for that. Alright, so things are shaping up a little bit in terms of how I'm going to be spending the day. I don't think it would hurt for me to try and make another Solomon's Preparation. So with that in mind, I'm actually going to use the core, lower the bucket creaking into the dark. That's because I know I'm going to be giving up a glass of water. And again, I don't want to throw too many elements of the soul at the problem. Pour it out. Or at problems yet, just because I don't know what the investigation of the founded country is going to produce. And of course I do also want glass blowing and vessel crafting to get leveled up today as well. So these are a few basics that I knew I would want to do at some point anyway. But I am going to be a little bit more hands-off for the next little while. Alright, an investigation of a founded country, subtitled Recordings from the Atlantic Coast. The phonograph initially seems to consist entirely of wave sounds and the cries of gulls, but attention to the cries suggests that they are not gulls at all, perhaps not even birds. The bird cries resolve to possibly human voices, half lost in the sound of waves. They lament the absence of a city unborn. They hymn the ice behind the wave, the amber cobbles, or perhaps amber corals. The tenor of their song is melancholy, but also increasingly menacing, as they promise the city irresistible. As the voices fade, distant bells are clearly heard among the surf sounds. Okay, that gets us a stolen secret, so I'm going to make a note there. And Hill and Hollow for our trouble. So that shouldn't be too hard for us to level up. You know what? I think we'll use this to level up the glass blowing and vessel crafting. Okay, easier said than done. I need 3, not 2. there's no rush, so I'll let it go. Alright, so we have what we need to open up the charred chamber. That requires 14 winter, which we have, or, well, you can see it here. Memories don't last long outside books, but it's made the difference for the day. So we're just going to talk with Mr. Kill to generate as many memories as I can. Hopefully no, I'm not using the sweet bones properly. Let's use the metal here. There's not much work on offer in Brandkrug, but I can find 6 pence worth of odd jobs. So I feel a little bad about that. I'm going to set aside the Fet and the Tryst. If I have the opportunity, it would be kind of nice to turn these into an Earth Sign and an Old Wound, but not enough that I would give up being able to level up Glass Blowing and Vessel Crafting and Hill and Hollow. I think both are achievable. In fact, we have what we need for Hill and Hollow right here. We can't level up Glass Blowing Vessel Crafting, but I'll take the one that I can level up for sure. I'm no expert, but I'm no dabbler either. Oops. Alright. The Sun Disfigured, a scroll of anthropoderm parchment written in the golden ink called Uzalt. The author of the text calls herself the Elegabline. Sometimes she seems to be Sunset Celia, the Watchman's name. Sometimes she seems to be Lady Tryphon, the Grail-Long. It is unclear whether these are separate entities or the same person. It may be unclear even to the writer. The flaws in the Sun's plan are elucidated. The Sun's plan itself is never entirely clear, but it is a project of some kind to enter, possess, or surrender to the glory, the pure light above the mansus. This book suggests ways in which that plan might fail. The Sun's weakness. The Sun's sins and the Sun's scars are our salvation. There are histories where they will trap us, preventing us rising to eternity. Alright, so I suppose at this point... Yeah, we still hold the line. I don't want to... Again, I don't want to play chicken with my elements of the soul. I do actually want to do something useful with them, but... We have enough time with the talk to be able to get a little bit more out of Mr. Kill. Any element of the soul that I save today is something that or by the end of the day, is going to be something I can use to catalog these books. And then that just leaves us open to doing a little bit more. A little water splashes on the stones of the well to nourish the mosses there. The skill is now level 3. Its power aspects have also increased. And dead men don't tell no bloody tales. Well, who'd listen? So that solace does actually help us with the gale too, so today is looking quite good. As I used to say in my youth, the day is done and so am I, but I've earned my pay. So I am going to pay to get the metal back. It is winter and the storms have tightened the seas. I am sitting before the fire and the sweet bones with the beef and potato pasty in one hand and a hot ale posset in the other. The 5 Letters on Memory, Julian Cosley's epistolatory treatise on matters memorial and mnemonic, addressed to his then friend Claude Hirschalt, the mystic and the mystic and antiquarian. The book is partly a practical manual expounding memory palace-like techniques, and partly an exploration of memory rarefied, modes in which sense or experience persist outside a mortal mind. This is an early work, and by Cosley's standards it brims with optimism, even enthusiasm. If books, he suggests, are the memory that does not die, then perhaps with sufficient endeavors, memory's murderer might be contained. Rhyme and Remembrance, so that is Moon and Winter. We have a few things competing for these. And let's put this on the regret shelf. That's this one, I think. And Intuition. Okay, that's going to open up some possibilities for us. So I don't have any use for the rows. I suppose we can just level up Rhyme and Remembrance right away then. No, it needs 3. Okay. And you know what? I do actually have something I need to sort of sort out before the next episode. So I realize this is a little bit of a quiet point to finish the episode on, but I think this is actually not a bad place to go. We are going to be unlocking one more room in the Cucurbit before the week is done. I'm going to be focusing on glassblowing and vessel crafting. In an ideal situation, I clear all this stuff out, and then we are free to focus on resurgences and emergences. But we'll see how it turns out. You know, we still have time before spring. I would like to try and get a few more rooms opened as well, but I think I'm going to focus on the skills first. Then we'll maybe see what we can do with my available resources, and then yeah, we'll see where the rest of it goes. But I think this room for sure, and I would not be surprised if we found a way of getting into the impermeable cell as well. But again, I won't focus on that too much. As always, thank you very much for watching, and there should be one more episode this week, so I will see you then. Take care.